All right. So you're prepping for that big interview, right? The primary school head teacher position.
Yeah.
And we're diving deep into RoleCatcher's resources today to help you absolutely nail it.
Exactly.
So think of this as your sort of like a personalized interview playbook.
That's right.
So it's obviously not just about showcasing your teaching skills.
No.
Right. What else do these guides emphasize about this role?
Well, they really emphasize the breadth of the role. So it's everything from managing the staff to making those really, really tough admissions calls, right? And then shaping the curriculum, and then all while, of course, you're navigating those national education standards.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is a lot to juggle. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's tackle some of these potential interview questions head on.
Okay.
So first up is, tell us about your experience working in primary education. Seems pretty straightforward, but how do you make your answer really stand out?
Yeah, it can seem very straightforward, but I think the way to make it stand out is to think of it as a story and not just a list of jobs, right?
Right.
And I really like the way RoleCatcher uses those career stages as a framework.
Okay.
So for instance, right, you could start with how your time as a teaching assistant, really nurtured your understanding of student needs.
Yeah.
And then you could go on to, highlight how you evolved as a class teacher, honing your curriculum development skills.
Okay, so it's all about like showing that upward trajectory.
Exactly.
Like showing how you've grown and what you've learned in these different roles.
Yeah.
And what if you've been a subject coordinator? How do you fit that in?
Oh, that's perfect. That's your leadership moment right there.
Okay.
That's where you can really describe how you led initiatives, how you mentored colleagues and fostered collaboration. But remember, it's really about focusing on impact. So, think about, did you introduce a new teaching method that really boosted student engagement? Or did you streamline a process that saved everyone time? Those are the gold nuggets they're looking for.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great point. Now, obviously, student well-being is a huge focus in education today.
Huge, yeah.
So how should you approach a question like, how do you prioritize student well-being?
Yeah, that's a big one. I think the key is to not just say it's important. You have to be specific. So have you implemented any successful anti-bullying programs? What strategies would you use to create a truly inclusive learning environment? Maybe you've organized mental health workshops for students or fostered a strong sense of community in your classroom. So share those tangible examples.
Yeah, it makes sense. Showing them that you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk.
Exactly.
Now, let's get real. Every leader faces challenges, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So how do you tackle a question like, describe a time you faced a significant challenge as a leader?
Yeah, this is where you really demonstrate your resilience and your problem-solving prowess. And I think RoleCatcher's pros and cons section really helps with this because it actually lists common challenges that head teachers face, like from disciplinary issues to even, demanding parents.
Right.
So pick one that really resonates with you.
So for example, let's say you had a situation with a student exhibiting really disruptive behavior.
Exactly. Yeah.
How would you talk about that?
Well, walk them through your process. So did you first try to understand the root cause of the behavior? Did you involve parents and support staff? What strategies did you implement? And most importantly, what did you learn from the experience?
So it's really about showing them that you can handle a tough situation with a cool head and you have a clear plan.
Yeah.
You've got this.
Now, parent communication, that's key, right?
Absolutely.
How would you answer something like, how do you approach building relationships with parents and families?
I think with this one, you want to think beyond newsletters and parent-teacher conferences, right?
So RoleCatcher highlights the need for diverse communication channels. So, how would you utilize technology to keep parents informed? Would you implement a school app, a social media platform, or even like virtual coffee mornings to connect?
Yeah.
Just different ways.
Those are great ideas. It shows that you're thinking about accessibility and meeting parents where they are.
Exactly.
And it's about building trust, right?
Absolutely. Parents need to feel heard and confident that their child's well-being is your top priority. So share examples of how you've successfully built those strong parent partnerships in the past. Maybe you implemented a parent feedback system or organized workshops to address specific concerns.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, I know RoleCatcher's AI can help tailor answers to specific job roles.
Absolutely.
Can you give an example of how that works in practice?
Sure. So let's say a job description really emphasizes experience with curriculum development.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze that and prompt you to highlight relevant experiences in your answers.
Okay.
So it might suggest that you showcase your knowledge of the latest teaching methodologies or your success in implementing project-based learning initiatives.
So it's like having a personalized coach kind of whispering in your ear,
Yeah, like
guiding you to emphasize the skills they're really looking for.
Yes, exactly. And it's not just about content. The AI can also provide feedback on your delivery.
Oh, wow.
So it helps you fine-tune your pacing and your tone to make sure your answers are clear and concise and engaging.
Okay, that's incredibly helpful. It takes the guesswork out of interview prep, and it definitely boosts your confidence.
Yeah.
But I know we've only just scratched the surface of those interview questions.
Yeah, we have.
So let's move on to some more challenging scenarios that you might encounter.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so let's dive into a question that I think often throws candidates off. How do you prioritize professional development for your staff? And it's about more than just ticking boxes, right?
So it's not enough to say, I'll send them to, a couple workshops a year.
No. Definitely not.
Okay.
Either.
You really want to think about it from a leadership perspective.
Okay.
So how would you create a culture of continuous learning?
Right.
Would you implement like peer-to-peer coaching or mentorship programs? Would you encourage teachers to pursue advanced certifications or maybe attend conferences that are relevant to their subject areas?
Right. It's all about empowering your staff to really grow and develop their expertise.
Exactly.
And become even better teachers.
Yeah. And don't forget about, individual needs.
Right.
So some teachers might thrive in online learning environments, while others might prefer like really hands-on workshops.
Yeah.
So you want to show that you're adaptable and willing to tailor those professional development opportunities to meet those diverse needs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now let's talk about the heart of education.
Okay.
The curriculum.
Yes.
How would you approach a question like, describe your approach to curriculum development and implementation?
So this is really your chance to demonstrate your pedagogical knowledge and your passion for creating engaging learning experiences for those students.
And RoleCatcher really emphasizes the need for a balanced approach here.
Yeah.
So, are you familiar with different learning styles, different teaching methodologies? Do you understand the importance of assessment and data-driven decision-making?
Right. So it's about striking that balance between creativity and structure.
Exactly. And you might even be asked about your experience, integrating technology into the classroom or your approach to differentiation to meet the needs of diverse learners.
Yeah.
So be prepared to share concrete examples from your past roles that showcase that curriculum expertise.
Okay, let's move on to another challenging area.
Sure.
Managing staff performance.
Ooh.
What are some key points to hit when answering something like, how do you approach managing and supporting staff performance?
I think transparency and open communication, those are really crucial here.
Okay.
So describe your approach to setting clear expectations, providing regular feedback, both formal and informal, and conducting fair and constructive performance evaluations.
It sounds like it's about creating a supportive but also accountable environment.
Precisely, and don't shy away from addressing those more challenging aspects of performance management.
Oh, okay.
So how would you handle a situation where a teacher's performance is consistently falling short of expectations?
That's a tough one. You talk about the importance of documentation, of, setting clear improvement plans and maybe involving mentors or coaches in the process.
Absolutely. And remember, your goal as a leader is to support all staff members in reaching their full potential.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means having those difficult conversations and offering guidance and resources to help them improve.
Right. I mean, it's part of being a leader.
Exactly.
Now, I know that even the most experienced educators kind of dread this question.
Oh, yeah.
Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision as a leader? How do you even begin to answer that?
Well, first of all, don't panic.
Okay.
It's not about showcasing a perfect track record, right?
Right.
It's about demonstrating your ability to make tough calls with integrity and with empathy.
So what kind of example would work well here?
I think choose a situation that highlights your judgment, your ability to weigh different perspectives, and your commitment to what's best for the entire school community. So maybe you had to make a difficult staffing decision because of budget cuts, or you had to address a sensitive situation involving a student or a parent.
Okay.
Something like that.
So it's about showing that you can make those tough calls while remaining fair and ethical,
Exactly.
but also compassionate.
Yeah.
Right.
And walk them through your thought process. Did you consult with colleagues? Did you seek advice from mentors? Did you gather input from stakeholders? What factors did you consider before making that final decision? And what did you learn from that experience?
Okay, that makes sense. It's about showing them you can navigate those gray areas
Yes,
with confidence and compassion.
absolutely.
Now let's shift gears a little bit to a topic that's incredibly important in education today.
Okay.
How do you approach fostering a culture of inclusion and diversity in your school?
So this is where you showcase your commitment to creating a school environment where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued.
Mhm.
So think about concrete actions you've taken in the past to promote inclusivity.
Okay, so for example, have you implemented diversity and inclusion training for
Yeah.
staff or created a curriculum that celebrates different cultures and perspectives?
Exactly. Have you established clear protocols for addressing incidents of bias or discrimination?
Mhm.
And how would you engage students' parents and the wider community in fostering a sense of belonging?
It's about creating a culture where everyone feels empowered to be themselves
Yes,
and to learn from each other's differences.
absolutely.
Now, I know we've been throwing a lot of questions your way.
You have.
It can feel a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
But remember, RoleCatcher's AI is here to help.
absolutely. It's like having a personalized interview prep team at your fingertips.
Right.
So let's talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge.
Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper into RoleCatcher's AI. You mentioned that it analyzes job descriptions. But how does that actually help me, prepare for those tricky interview questions?
Yeah, so it's like having a personalized cheat sheet almost that's tailored to that specific school that you're interviewing with.
Okay.
So let's say the job description really highlights the importance of data-driven decision-making.
Hmm.
RoleCatcher's AI will actually flag that and prompt you to incorporate examples of how you've used data to inform your decisions in the past.
Oh, that's interesting. So if they ask about, like, my approach to curriculum development, I could talk about how I used student assessment data
Exactly.
to identify areas for improvement.
Yes, or if they ask about your leadership style, you could describe how you use data to track student progress and then, make adjustments to your teaching strategies based on that.
So it really helps you connect the dots between
Exactly.
what they're looking for
Yeah,
and your own experience.
it connects those dots, yes.
Okay, that's super helpful. It takes the guesswork out of trying to figure out what they're really looking for. And you also mentioned that the AI can provide feedback on your delivery.
Absolutely.
How did that work?
So it analyzes your pacing, your tone, and your clarity, and it helps you refine those answers so they are concise and engaging and impactful.
So it's like having a virtual speech coach
It really is.
giving you real-time feedback.
Real time.
Yeah. Wow, okay, so we covered a lot of ground today.
We did.
We went from dissecting those tough interview questions to talking about how to leverage the power of RoleCatcher's AI. I think we've given our listeners a really comprehensive toolkit for interview success.
Absolutely.
So what's our biggest takeaway? What do you want listeners to remember as they prepare for these interviews?
Well, I think the biggest thing is preparation is key, right? The more you practice, the more you refine your answers, the more confident you're going to feel walking into that interview room.
And don't forget to let your passion and enthusiasm shine through.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They want to see that you're genuinely excited about this opportunity,
Yeah. They want to see that spark.
about leading their school.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Any other final thoughts?
I would just say, one last thought. It kind of echoes what we talked about earlier about professional development for staff never stop learning and growing. The field of education is constantly evolving, so stay curious, embrace new ideas, be a lifelong learner.
That's fantastic advice. As always, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there, as you step into this next chapter of your career, remember you've got the skills, you've got the knowledge, and you have the support to make a real difference in the lives of these children.
You got this.
Best of luck.
Thanks for having me.